So the first thing I want to mention is, what were your thoughts going into this lane? I believe you're playing Vex into Taliyah, you say. So in the loading screen, what were you kind of thinking?
Oh, oh, you really got me thinking. So I think in this game he went Doran's ring. So I've seen like a video where a Vex main said that corrupting pod should always beat a Doran's ring. I didn't really look it. I was just like I just believed it instantly. So I was trying to like stomp her at lane, like lane dominance. So that's what I'm trying to do at this lane. Like just try to mechanically outlane him, something like that.
Okay, that makes sense that you say he started tier, actually, not even Doran's ring. So
Okay, yep, my bad.
when you say you want to play to dominate lane, that that's true. But how do you dominate this lane? Do you push up aggressively and just try to zone with your abilities, go for trades when you have your passive up? Do you try to push and then roam? You dominate in terms of you affect the map more. Do you push and then let the wave come back into you here? You freeze to set up a gank for your jungler. Do you slow push waves, crash, and then poke them under tower? Do you keep the wave in the middle of the lane, maybe slightly on your side, maybe slightly on their side? These are the sort of, there's many different ways you can play to uh, dominate the lane. You can go for solo kills, and there's many different ways you can go for solo kills. You can go for a very, very heavy farm advantage. You can generally, the reason that corrupting potion beats tier or Doran's ring is you have a lot more sustain in the short term, so you can force more fights, even if the fights are a little bit worse for you in terms of you take a little bit more damage than them. You have more sustain, so you'll heal up more. So effectively, it ends up being okay for you because you have an extra potion on them, right?
Yeah.
So, so when you say you want to dominate lane, how do you dominate lane? I'm asking you, like, how do you think you dominate this lane? What abilities do you want to go for on them? What abilities do you want to play around from Taliyah?
Uh, um, so in my thought process in trying to dominate this lane, like I just thought like, okay, so she's gonna walk up to CS, so she's gonna try to get that minion. The moment she tries to get that minion, I will use my E passive then Q to outtrade him with corrupting potion. So that's how I thought I would win this lane.
Okay. Um, One thing I do want to mention. Do you remember who their jungler was?
Uh oh my.
Here,
Okay, I'm sorry. It's been
it's
like
Wukong.
okay, it's
It's Wukong.
Wukong. Okay, now I remember. It's been like last week. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. No worries. Okay, I'm just gonna put that note there so I can remember it. So basically, you want to go for a trade when Taliyah goes for farm, and you want to out sustain with corrupting potion. But have you thought about at all what you want to do with the wave? Do you want to push into her? Do you want her to push into you? And more importantly, why do you choose to do what you do?
Absolutely not. I just, I trade and I push to him. Yeah, I did not really take that into consideration a lot. I was kind of autopiloting my bad there.
So basically, you're saying you autopiloted the wave control, didn't really think about it.
Yes, that's basically it.
In the future, what I want you to do is try to think about what you want to do with the wave in advance, and then after the game, think about it in retrospect. Did I like what I did with the wave? Did it feel good? Did it feel bad? And then figure out why it felt good, why it felt bad, why it felt okay, and then use that to figure out for the next game. Well, last game, this felt really good to push the wave level 1 in this matchup versus Taliyah, but so maybe I'll try it again in the next matchup, which is versus a Syndra, and maybe that one doesn't feel good. And then use it to continuously refine and figure out what feels good, what feels bad, and why. So that's just the first thing I want to mention is it's very important to have a bit of a game plan, right? What you want to do with the wave. So it looks like you are autoing. So that means since you're autoing a lot, you're going to try to go for push. One thing I note is that you're probably going to miss this creep because you're going for a trade here.
Yes.
Just, you could probably time the trade to... You want to go for the trade when your minion is low, so that way you can trade when they're getting a creep. But you also want to do it when the enemy minions are not low, so you're not going to miss anything. So you're missing something by going for this trade. Generally, you want to go for trades when you're not going to miss anything.
We see. Okay.
So you could go for this minion and then continue to posture aggressively.
Yeah, I made a bad trade here. Actually,
Yeah.
I think.
Because, again, the reason that's a bad trade is... There's two reasons. One, or there's a few different reasons. So one, so the first reason this is bad is you're going to miss farm. You're going to miss this farm right here, right? Reason number two, you're walking up very, very far, right? You're walking into the enemy minion wave. So you're going to take minion aggro as well as Taliyah aggro. So you're going to take damage from Taliyah when she returns trade, and you're going to take damage from the minions. So that's generally bad. You don't want to take a lot of minion aggro. So number two, you tank the minions.
Yeah.
And then number three, thinking about Taliyah's kit, what do you want to do? You know that she's probably going to start Q level 1. That's really the only ability she can realistically start, unless starting E for an invade or something to stun someone who tries to dash. But her Q is a projectile that goes straight and is going to be dodged by and will be blocked by minions. So you generally will get hit by it if you're not standing behind your own minions. And you want to... Your movement, you'll probably want to walk towards her and then immediately switch directions, if that makes sense, versus Taliyah.
Yes.
Because that way she'll throw her Q, and since she's against this wall, it's really hard for her to move up here. She has to move diagonal, right? So if you move up, it's very hard for her to actually hit her Q. Let me redo this with different colors. So Taliyah Q goes like this, and she can only move... She can't move that way. She can only move here. So effectively, the only range of her Q can be here, right?
Yes.
But if you walk forward and then immediately go up this way, the direction she can't go, your effective distance covered in the same time is up here, right? So if you can get into this zone, she can't hit you with all of her Qs, so you only take maybe 1 or 2 hits instead of all of them, which is what you do, right?
Yeah. Would I have won the trade if I did what you said, like move up? Would I have won the trade?
I mean, I still wouldn't have gone for it for reasons 1 and 2, because you're going to miss that farm and all these creeps you're tanking.
Okay, that makes sense.
What I probably would have done is I would have postured aggressively. I would just click here, click here, click here, click here, and posture aggressively without actually going for it. And if she walks up, then I'll just throw my E auto one more time, electrocute, chase the blood, and just dip out, right? If she messes up and plays too aggressively, then I'll go for it, right? I'm just trying to apply pressure, step up. If she makes a mistake, then I will go and capitalize on it. But if she decides not to, then you just get wave prio. You zone her a little bit from the last hits, so she can't go for them, right? So you get wave control. And when I say try to dodge, you really have to think before the trade, right? If you think about Taliyah's kit before the trade and think, okay, her Q can only go straight. It can be blocked by your minions. Once she clicks it, I can just walk one direction. I can fake walk one direction, walk the other, and then it's hard for her to land it, right?
Yes.
You know, if you're against a Lux, she has... I'll do this in yellow. She has this range. She can throw her E, right? So what you can do is you walk forward into her E range. She'll throw her E, and as soon as you think she's going to throw her E, you walk back and dodge it, and that gives you a 10-second window where you can then play aggressive on her, right?
Yeah.
Against different champs, you're going to play it very differently, but it's important for Note 3 to think about it in the context of this lane, right? Again, this is very nitpicky. This is literally the first 8 seconds of a lane. This is not going to decide who wins the lane at all. But it's thinking about this sort of stuff and then using it for the rest of the laning phase. You want to... These are the 3 reasons that I don't think this trade was very good or worth it. More than just, oh, I tanked her whole queue, so this was bad. You missed the farm, you tank the minions. This... I like that you're trying to posture aggressively here. But again, right here, I would just say, you know what? She's walking away. I don't think this is worth it for a trade. I'm just going to walk back and forward and just stay around in this position. And if she steps up here, yeah, then I'll go for the trade because it's very good for me. But if she's going to stay far back, then she's respecting you, and then you have to accept that she's respecting you, right? So we'll just keep going. See, you tank all but one. And now would be a good time to go for the trade because you have nothing to farm. She's going to want to farm this minion soon, right? Obviously, you're going to want to step back when you go for this creep. But because you use your ability, you have to give a lot of pressure. So you walk back because you have no abilities, right? But if you just held your abilities here, you'd be able to still step up forward, right? That makes sense?
That's a lot better than my last trade. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. You see, and right now you're walking around here, right?
Yes.
She still I know you don't have your E up, but she also doesn't have her ability up because she used hers in her last trade. So what I'd like you to do is kind of creep up this way. You want to still stand behind your minion in that line of sight, right? So let's say this blue, or we'll say pink for enemy, right here is Taliyah's Q, right? So you want to just stay as close to her as possible while standing behind your minion, so that way her Q doesn't hit you. This changes a little bit once she hits level 3 and has her Q, or her W and her E, because then she can just stun you, right? Yeah. But right now at level 1, You just want to stand behind her minion and as far up as possible to pressure her. So she can't hit you, but you can still pressure her when she tries to go for this farm. Because you're going to go for this farm, and then as soon as you get that farm, you're going to have a little while till you have to go for the next one. So you can spend that time just pressuring her while she wants to go for this one, right? If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, because you're going to throw this auto here towards this minion, but you don't have to do it from here. You can do it from up here in a more aggressive stance, so to say, right?
Yes.
Because I believe Taliyah Q is a lower cooldown than Vexy, but again, you're standing way far back, giving this creep for no reason. You could also be standing up in this pocket, pressuring her. I'm not saying you have to stand right here behind the creep, but I prefer to stand in a pocket where I'd be able to dodge a creep, so best pocket would probably be around here, actually, because then you can just quickly walk behind this creep. But it's about knowing when you can pressure. Because right now, I like to see you go for harass while she's going to be going for this creep. Because there's no creep for you to go to, but there's a creep for her to go on, right? And it's also important to remember, just because there's a creep she's going for and there's no creep for you to go for, doesn't mean you're allowed to go for a trade. It's about knowing when you can and when you can't. For example, if this is a Zed level 6 and he's going for this creep and there's no creep for you going for, maybe you don't go for it because he can just one-shot you if you step up too far, right? Maybe you're going to get ganked. So it's important to know when you can and when you can't. This isn't an absolute sort of thing. But in this situation, I think you should at least position a little more aggressively. And see, because you ate her Q for no reason, and now she doesn't have any spells up. You do, and you're not posturing aggressively. You don't have to trade, but you should at least posture aggressively. Pressure, yeah, exactly. You don't always have to go in, but at least give yourself the option to pressure if she makes a mistake and steps up too far, right? And remember...
Okay, I'm learning a lot.
And remember, what happens when this creep dies?
Level 2.
Level 2. You get level 2 off this. You get level... So... So you get 2 first.
Yes.
So that's one thing in your favor. And her Q is still on cooldown because she just threw the boulder, right? So not only are you going to be level 2, so you're going to have better stats, and you're going to have an extra ability, her ability's on cooldown. So assuming that you played the lane as is, you ate her Q there, you should be beelining it to pressure her. I'm not saying you automatically go for this trade here, because if she just walks away and respects it, then you say, okay, I might be able to zone her from a little bit of farm. That's a win for me. But if she tries to walk up, or even necessarily stay here, then you can go for the trade, right? You're not going to force anything. You're not going to force the trade, because if she's walking away, you can't really get anything out of it. Then you walk into the problem of, oh, you're just going to tank a lot of minions again, like the first time, right?
Okay.
You want to pressure, and if she decides to go for a trade while she doesn't have her abilities up and you have level 2, then you go for the trade. You don't want to force, but it looks like you're not really looking for it enough. Because imagine if you...
I just walk out right now.
Yeah, because right now you realize, oh, I got level 2, so now I'm going to walk forward. But imagine if you'd already started walking forward, you'd probably be up here, right?
Right.
And Taliyah might realize, oh, he's going to get level 2 and be right here and respect it. But if she doesn't and she stays here, and let me change different colors. If you were already here and she's here, you could easily go for this trade. She didn't respect your level 2, right? But if she's instead here in position 2, she's respecting your level 2. And so you can't really go for this trade here, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you can go for a little EQ trade and then immediately just skedaddle away, taking a little minion aggro. But she didn't respect your level 2, but you didn't move forward enough to punish it fully. You can still potentially even punish her here, because you're still just on the edge of your...
stronger.
You're just on the edge of your E range, but it looks like you're reacting to saying, oh, I got level 2, now I can push. But why didn't you think about it in advance?
Well, actually, truthfully, I know I got level 2. Like, that's the first thing I searched in mid lane. So one wave and those things that will give me level 2. But it's like a weird habit. Like, I only go once I'm level 2. Like, I don't, like I said, but I should walk up beforehand because I should
Yeah.
pressure.
And remember, you don't always walk up beforehand, but the reason I say you can walk up beforehand is her Q's on cooldown. She has no Q, right? So she has no threat. You have your ability here. Let's go back a few seconds. So right here, she has no Q. You know you're going to get level 2 off the next minion, so you can be positioned up here. And if she autos you, you can E-auto her back, right? And it's still a winning trade, even if you aren't you're both level 1, right?
She has no Q. Okay,
she has no Q here, so you can step up and zone her before you get level 2. She has how many of your minions alive right here, right?
Basically, far away from
1,
level
2,
2,
3.
so far away.
She's still 3 minions away, right? You're just 1 minion away. So you have a 2 minion advantage. So you're going to get level 2 before her. So I'm not saying you always want to step up before level 2, but in this situation you can. And why can you? She has no Q.
Damn, I'm already inting level 1. God damn it.
Yeah. Because see, once you hit level 2, then you looked for it and realized, no, she's too far out of range. But why was she too far out of range? Because you only...
I did not
walk
up beforehand.
Because you only walked up after you hit level 2. A lot of time, especially below like mid diamond, people will forget that sometimes that you're going to hit level 2 and not respect it. You know, I like that you're looking for it. You know, I don't like that you're walking back because this minion's going to fall. I want you to be down here, right?
I thought I was doing some big brain stress for a back off. She walks forward and I kill her, but yeah, never mind. Mindset, that's very bad.
So why do you think I say you should be down here in this pocket, in pocket 1, rather than here in pocket 2, or here in pocket 3?
Well, if I'm in pocket 2, she just AoE Qs me. In pocket 3, like, I don't have time. So maybe pocket 2 is better because, like, I'm closer and it will give me closer to E range. I can apply more pressure.
I think pocket 2 is bad because then she can just Q to hit you and get the creep.
AoE Q.
Yeah, and she'll get the creep. Pocket 3 is better than pocket 2 because you're forcing her to go kind of this way a little bit more, and you're pushing her back, right? But you're still not near any minions, so she'll just throw her auto at the minion and then Q you. Personally, I like pocket 1 the most, mainly because that's not where I meant to do it. I like pocket 1 the most because this minion here, you can just, if you're down in this area, you can just walk behind it and then her Q won't hit you anymore. While you're also forcing her back this way, the farthest away from the minion wave. So you're zoning her as much as possible. Again, the only concern here is that Wukong technically probably started this side, right? Red side. So he could, in theory, W over this wall and gank you. But it's only 208. He probably hasn't finished red and golems into raptors yet, so you're probably fine on wave 2. Wave 3, I'd be a little more sketched out. But again, she's stepping up way too far. You can also think of it as a bit of a line of pressure right now because your minion wave is pushing into her. We'll say that this is the line of pressure. If she steps up with you positioned here, this is the farthest she's allowed to step up, right? If she steps above this, if she goes over this line, then you go for a trade.
Instant EQ.
If she stays behind this line, you don't go for the trade, right?
Okay.
This line will change based off your positioning. So if you're way back here, right? If you're here, oh my god. If you're back here, then your line may only be here because that's how far you can reach. But this line is where you should be, or where your max range should be. So let's see what happens here. So you take a trade from her and you don't trade back. Do you think that's how this should be, considering you're level 2 and she's level 1?
Yeah, what the fuck am I doing here? What the, you're right.
And now she has no Q, so you go for this trade, which I like. But again, you missed a creep there. Was this the best timing to go for this trade?
Yeah, that's the best time. I should fight back. No, the earlier is the best timing. This timing is not the best. It's suboptimal.
Like, here's the thing. You have good ideas, but your execution is off. You want to go for the trades when she's going for farm, but then you're going for trade when you're going to miss farm and when you're in the wave. And when it is a good time, you don't do it. Right? It's about optimizing. I can tell you have good ideas. Also, one thing, I'd recommend warding not the bush, but just a little bit outside the bush. It grants you a little bit more vision. The reason I say that is...
That's an autopilot word by me.
Yeah.
I was autopiloting there.
Because Wukong can just boom, walk around and gank you like this. You won't see it, right? This ward only gives you vision up to here. So Wukong could be up here and you won't even see it, right? It's a very lazy ward that helps you if you really, really need a ward right this second, it'll help you. But it doesn't help you long term very much. Because again, notice how little vision that really gives you. You also don't really need to ward right there right now because you know Wukong's bot side. You could wait till the next wave, probably.
I thought he was blue side. Yeah, my jungle tracking's not the best yet.
I'm just assuming he started top side. I wasn't looking at their bot, admittedly, but I'm assuming he's fine. You're also not in that dangerous of a position right now to get ganked. Again, you take... I like that. And you know you can't go for the auto, so that's good.
Is cannon? Yep.
Yeah. See what I mean? We knew he was bot side.
Oh, joke. Oh, yeah. Fuck me.
And now you blow your flash.
I flashed so late there.
Yeah. So... honestly, why do you think this happened?
I did not jungle track correctly. And I think that's the reason why. Maybe I could have, slow pushed the wave better so that I could shove the wave. I could... Okay, maybe it's a jungle I'm not really sure.
Honestly, I think what it is you know that he started bot side. So if he's going to gank you, it's going to be from bot side, right? The reason we know he started bot side is Wukong generally likes to start red buff and their bot probably leashed, right?
I have a little excuse for that. Our Leona was AFK, so they were generally gonna push since 2v1.
Yeah, I mean, what I mean by that is, you know how when you walk to lane at 130, you can just look bot. Does the enemy bot start in the lane, or do they show up? Or do they show up 10 seconds later? Do they show up after the minions meet? They can always fake leash, but that's a good estimate to figure out what happens. The reason I think you die here is Wukong's probably bot side.
Yeah.
Yet you're in the middle of the lane. You have a ward up here, but you're in the middle of the lane. This gank is a lot harder to pull off. Like, why are you here instead of here? Right?
Because I'm afraid of Taliyah Q. I think that's why I'm there.
Yeah. Also, you should probably know you have to flash the Taliyah W.
Yeah, I have old man hands basically.
Yeah. Also, another thing to mention, you still don't have your fear up. So if you do get ganked, you can't disengage. Another thing, you could have popped your corrupting pot earlier, even before the gank, because you knew you weren't full. Like here, you could
Yeah.
have popped your corrupting potion. But a little bit nitpicky. You know, just think about jungle tracking a little bit more. I don't care too much. You know, you died to your gank. It happens. Because there's what you should do in terms of trading in the 1v1, but there's also what you should do in terms of the 2v2, right?
Yes.
And those can be very different things. Yeah, you can't rotate there for that because your wave is in a very bad spot for that.
Yeah, it's really too late.
But yeah, shouldn't be missing minions, especially if you're using your abilities on the wave.
Yep, my bad. Not really the best
Yeah,
hit in the mid lane CS. Okay, I'll get there
yeah.
eventually.
And right now, I want to see you play aggressive because she just missed her combo. You spaced very well to dodge her W. I think you got a little lucky because you barely dodged it, right? But now I'm going to ask you a different question. Where should
Okay,
you?
sure thing.
Where in the lane do you want to be?
Where in the lane, like, where should I position the lane? Ano?
Yeah,
In
I
laning?
mean, just in general, given the map state, where roughly in the lane should you be positioned?
I think I should have bot side because my jungler is bot side, am I right?
Yes. And
Okay.
also, what I would do is I would danger ping top.
Why? Is the jungler's there?
Um, so think about it. Wukong did this into mid lane, right?
Yes.
And then that means what's he gonna do after he goes mid lane?
Yeah, it's pretty obvious. He
He's
should go
gonna
top and clear top camps.
he's gonna do these camps in I don't know what order, but he's gonna do some form of these camps. He could go for your team's
Mm-hmm.
golems, knowing that Amumu didn't clear his. This is an optimal high elo play. Wukong will be able to notice, oh, Amumu only has 20 farm when he ganked bot, so that means he left up his golems, right? A
Okay.
Plat jungler won't think about that, but he might then decide to go and invade your top side. He could go for that play. There are three plays that Wukong could go. One, after he clears his camps, he can go mid again from top side, right? So you know he'd be top side.
Yes.
Two, he could go top, which is a very, very nice option because your top is pushing. Three,
Okay.
he could invade your top side golems knowing that Amumu didn't have the camp cleared. And I guess four is he could reset for tempo because his golems are going to be spawning soon because it's almost time for them to spawn again, right?
Oh my god, my head is hurting. I'm not a jungle main.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've played a bit of jungle to get an idea of this, but there's a lot to learn with it, and eventually you'll get better at it. But it's kind of simple if you think about it in a process of elimination. If you were them, what are their options to do, right? You can't just assume they're gonna do all of those things, but you can kind of think about what can they do, right? This is
Okay.
roughly their path. So I would be pinging my Olaf saying, hey, you might get ganked soon. You know,
Okay.
obviously you don't have to think about it that advanced yet. Maybe think about it a little bit, but because there is a lot to jungle tracking because junglers will also get more creative, right? Maybe he'll think, you know what, Amumu is going to go bot, and maybe he just goes bot to counter gank because he's smart and just reads the map in a creative way. But
Okay.
off the jungle tracking a little bit, I like that you're playing bot side and aggressive while she has no abilities, right? But you're still wary that Wukong, remember, could be top side, ganking you from top side. You don't have your passive, so you don't have any form of self peel, and your trades aren't going to be as good because you don't get the extra damage from your passive and you don't get the fear. So you don't want to force too hard. Right? But again, why are you up here? You got
Yeah.
lucky. You got very lucky Wukong showing top. Like I said, I predicted that.
Yeah,
We know
danger
he's going to be
play.
top. But we just said, realistically, you want to be bot pocket because Amuumu's here. Now, I think you could use this to your favor because a lot of the time people will mirror positions in pockets, right? So if you go up here, Taliyah will just instinctively go here, which will set up for the Amumu gank, right?
But I did not think
But
of
you
that.
weren't
I was just
thinking of that.
autopiloting.
You wanna be bot pocket, and if you're gonna leave that pocket, you better have a good reason why. And if you go towards this pocket, this is basically it's a 50-50 whether Wukong's gonna go scuttle and gank top or gank bot. Or
That
gank you
mid.
from mid, from top side,
So in
right?
another world, I'm dead again, basically.
So it's not really a 50-50, it's probably like a 70-30 because this is just the freest gank in the world for Wukong to at least get pressure on Olaf. They might not get the kill. But if you say I'm gonna hug bot pocket and then Mumu looks like he's posturing to go for a gank, then you go top pocket to force Taliyah here, right?
Okay.
If you go for this play, which this is what you're doing subconsciously, you're not really thinking about it. Maybe you just got a little lucky. You still
Yep, that's definitely
you know what could
definitely.
happen when you're setting up for this gank. Wukong just comes here, Taliyah goes here, and they kill you before Amumu even shows up. Right? That's the danger of going towards this pocket when you don't have vision anywhere topside. Right?
In another world, I'm basically dead.
Yeah. You go for the gank, but what I would do is instead of walking back towards bot, I'd walk this way to try to get Amumu. Amumu's resetting, but he's probably looking for the gank if it's going to happen. He's not going to force, but I would try to force the Taliyah down in that pocket. And again, your top died because he didn't respect the jungle. Okay. Yeah. A little micro bad, but I don't really care too much about that. Again, right here, I would be autoing the wave as much as possible because she's trying to push this wave in, right?
Yeah.
As fast as possible. So you don't necessarily have the reason you wouldn't the reason you wouldn't want to contest push is if you think you're going to get ganked, right? But Wukong just showed top. He's probably going to reset after that. He could come mid, but he's probably going to want to farm his camps.
Yep.
But basically the reason you can say this is Wukong just ganked top, so I'm safe mid, right? So you can say, okay, I want to let her push if I'm going to get ganked. But since I'm not going to get ganked, there's no reason for you to give push. So just auto the minions as much as possible, maybe even use an ability. You have 3 charges of your corrupting potion. I don't know why you're not using it, right?
I think I just use it when I'm gonna trade because it gives the bonus damage.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You know,
Should I use it before like even when I'm not trading, or should I only use it
you
when
know,
I'm trading?
I mean, honestly, right here, you could use it right now and then look for position aggressively, look for the trade. I like to think of it as you're going fishing. You're fishing for a trade, but you're not going to force. So let's see what happens here. Right here. If you were fishing for this trade, she just used her Q, her main source of damage, to push. That means you have a window to go for a trade. You fish for the trade. You're not going to force. You're going to fish for the trade. You can go up and trade onto her while she doesn't have her Q going on you. Right?
Okay.
Because even if she uses her EW on you, which you have, let's say, a 50% chance of dodging, she can't follow it up with her Q, right? So it's still an okay trade. And that's why you pop your corrupting potion, because you can still get the health, and you're going to fish for the trade. Right?
Okay.
But she uses her Q and then you walk back. Right? And now she's going to have her Q up and she's going to probably look to Q you here. If you step up too far.
What's the cooldown of Taliyah Q, by the way?
I don't know off the top of my head. I'd probably say 5 or 6 seconds.
Okay.
Um, Seven seconds, level 1.
Damn, that's actually pretty long.
Yeah. Yeah, so you didn't prep the minion well enough, but that's not a big deal.
Yeah, I'll work on my CS thing, definitely.
Yeah. So right now, I'd say, again, you should probably be using a corrupting potion to stay full
Pushing.
health. But, yeah, I agree you can't go for that. And now you want to be able to use your W on her when a Mumu comes. Very nicely done. Just layer your crowd control.
Yeah,
So
I
that was a
shouldn't have
very, very good
ignited.
kill.
I shouldn't have ignited, right?
If you know, in hindsight, you probably don't need to, but she had flash, I think, so she could have flashed away. So I think it's
Okay.
fine to ignite just to make sure you burst her.
Okay.
And again, you're low mana because you didn't use your corrupting potions earlier.
Yep.
And now Taliyah, you're not going to be able to push the wave fast enough.
And she has teleport.
She teleported back, so you just want to probably push this and immediately reset.
Yep, definitely.
And what I'd do is I'd probably just walk, see if I can reset there instead of walking all the way back.
Is there a reason for that?
I'm greedy. I'd save 3 seconds. There's a chance that she'll walk and counter it, but I don't think she would.
Yeah, it's Plat.
You know, see, she didn't. You would have gotten away with that reset just out of vision.
The wave was pushing to her.
Yeah,
So she
and
couldn't miss that.
you'd get back a little bit faster. You want to reset. I wouldn't wait for all my mana. I'd just walk straight to lane. I say that because she has Prio here right now, right?
Yeah.
And that means she can push that wave and roam bot. She can push that wave and roam top. Either option is great for her. She should, in theory, play bot because that's where her jungler is,
Yeah,
right?
they can dive.
But honestly, she could probably go top too and help. Probably not kill Olaf, but deny him this wave because Gwen is gonna slow push into a crash. And see now, notice that Taliyah has roam. She's gonna go to this fight.
Yeah, I give up my CS for.
And you have to go give up the wave to go to the fight. And I don't know if that's worth it. I think the fight's going to be over before you're there. But
I think I got lucky here.
yeah.
No, I know I actually fucked up. Yeah, I think I should have went for the wave.
Now you sacked a huge, huge wave. You being there didn't make any difference. And, you know, you would have been there 2 seconds earlier if you did the better recall, but I don't think that makes a huge difference.
Yeah. I mean, here's my mentality.
But it could have made a difference.
Like in Vex, like I really just want to win as many fights as possible because I believe like winning solo with Vex, just winning as many fights, team fights.
And right here, that means you have tempo, right?
So I should look for top or mid.
So
top or bot.
There's a lot of things you can do with tempo. One,
ward.
Plate. You can go for plate. You only do that if you have ward. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have started with plate, but that's one option you can go for too. You can go for ward.
Yeah, vision.
You can try to deny enemy pinks that are bot or top side, right? So you walk here, you check the bushes to see if they have a pink. You get vision out yourself.
Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
Roam. I'm going to say with jungle, you usually want to roam with your jungler because if you go top, it's a 1v2. There's still a slight chance you get outplayed there, right? But if you go top with your Amumu, it's 1v3. If Wukong shows up, it's still a better advantage for you. It's just more likely to go right if you play with your jungler. For you could reset. You have lost chapter on base, but I don't think that's, you know, it's just lost chapter. I think it's decent, but I don't think you're better off going for a plate or ward or a roam. I don't think you can.
the best use of tempo.
I think this might work because of Mumu's bot side. I admittedly, I can't tell you if it's a good decision or not because you're not looking, right? Mumu's clearing this camp. He could go that camp into a bot gank. Actually, Ezreal just reset. That's not going to work. Never mind. But you want to look, see, can I roam with this tempo? Can I roam with it? Can I warp? Do I have... What are you able to get away with? Optimally, this is probably the best option most games on Vex because you want to get your other lanes ahead.
Yep.
You know, and if you're going to go for plate, you want to go ward. If you have vision, then you can go for plate. You don't need vision necessarily because if you know their jungler and their bot lane or their jungler and mid lane are just reset, you don't need vision because you know they're here, so they can't gank you. Their bot and their top are showing on the map, so you can go for that without worry of getting ganked, right? Okay. But that's more nuanced, knowing when you can break the rules. Or you can go for a tempo reset. So let's see what you end up doing. You end up going for a reset.
For Lost Chapter.
I think that's an okay option. You know? But you want to be back on the map as soon as possible. The reason I personally wouldn't have gone for that is you only get Lost Chapter and a Ruby Crystal. I don't think that's a huge power spike.
True.
And the reason that I don't like this play is right here, you have tempo, right? Because Taliyah went B. So Taliyah went base first, right? That means you get to push the wave in, you get tempo, you can roam, you can do whatever you want. You can make something happen on the map, right? You decide to go base, that means you B.
And she has tempo.
That means she gets tempo. So not on this wave, but on the next wave that comes, she'll be able to push first and then she'll get tempo and she will roam. And why is this bad in this matchup?
Because Taliyah is also roaming champion. She has wall.
Taliyah has ult still. I'm pretty sure she didn't use it in the last fight, so she still has ult. And giving her tempo, this wave is when she gets tempo. You resetting there means she'll get tempo in 30 seconds. So you want to... If you're going to do that, you probably just want to ward the lane. I'm not saying never go for that, but I'm saying... think about it beforehand.
Okay.
Right? And that tempo leads to them being able to get Rift. Would you have been able to contest it if you were on the map? Probably not. But you have no chance to. So now, right now, you guys are you're kind of behind. You have to just play around there.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah. I'm not too concerned about that stuff. It's whatever. You're just, like there, you were fishing for a little bit of a trade. Yeah. You missed that creative. Yeah. So Amumu's coming from bot side. So again, right now, you could go for that thing I told you. If you go here, she'll probably go here into your Amumu. Right?
I think I made it a little bit too obvious. I'm just running at her.
Yeah, running at her. You don't want to make it too obvious because if you just run at her, she'll be like, oh shit, and just walk away.
Yeah.
And again, if you do walk here, there is the danger that Wukong could be here because he was just topside doing Rift. Right? Yeah. So it's possible he's there. So you don't want to overcommit. But instead you stay on this side of the map. So she goes and decides to go, okay, I'll go on this side of the lane. Right?
In the middle.
Subconsciously, you stayed, if this is the middle of the lane, right? You stayed just over by this much on that side. She stays just over by that much on this side, right? If you were instead right here, she would probably be right here, which makes the gank a little easier. This gank is one of the easiest ganks to pull off if Amumu can land his Q or you can land your ult, right?
I get anxiety if I throw my ult legit.
Yeah, basically all that needs to happen is you need to land your fear, or a Mumu needs to land his stun. And she just dies 100 to 0 because you can
CC chain.
CC chain and you have ignite. She's within kill threat because she's missing a little health. So you also have flash. I believe she has flash as well.
W.
So you can just, you don't want to force, but you can fish. If she gives it to you, go for it. But if she doesn't, don't. But again, if you can do more things to make it more likely for you to get the kill. If you're standing here and she stands here, it's more likely a Mumu will be able to land his Q, right? So you want to do what you can to make it more likely. But but again, since you stood on this side and then walked to her, she can walk away.
You're right.
But if you walk to her from this way, if she walks this way, she walks towards a Mumu. If she walks this way, it's a little easier for you to hit your ult, right?
Yes.
So that's a mistake. So she ends up walking that way. That's really troll from her.
Yep, she's inting.
Right here, you should throw your ult, potentially.
Yeah, I think I throw it after a few seconds.
I don't know if she has flash or not because I've been skipping around a little bit. But basically, all she can do, she cannot walk this way, right?
Yeah, there's a wall.
Because there's the wall. So if she was here, I wouldn't throw your ult because she could dodge here, she could dodge here. It's not guaranteed to land. But if you throw your ult right here, it's going to clip her being in the wall. If she dodges this way, it's going to hit her. She could technically walk this way, but you wait till she's right here. So she can't really dodge. So you end up flash Wing. That's a good option. So that's fine. That's one way to do it. You might have been able to do it without flashing.
Oh no, I misplay here. Oh,
yeah.
fuck me.
But you might have been able to do it without flashing, right?
Yeah, that's old thing that would probably be good.
Yeah. Again, I'm not too concerned about that. Wave's in a bad spot, but she wants tempo here, so you just want to push this wave in. You don't need to because she's blocking the wave in, so you're fine. Again, you're gonna miss farm. Now you're gonna miss that creep. CW. Yeah, not too concerned here about any of that. The reason I'm not too concerned here is because you're just trying to match her push if she can't roam.
It's understandable.
The 1v1 doesn't really matter anymore at this point. It's just about making sure that she can't roam. So now you have Prio. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking my first option is maybe go bot with the jungler, ganking with the jungler. Second, go top.
Yeah. You basically have, again, you have the two options because your first thing should be roam. One, you probably have your item soon on base is one thing I'd be thinking of.
1,000 forever for us.
Yeah, but you don't have it yet. Two, can you counter gank top or can you make a play happen bot? Those are the two things you should be thinking. I can't tell you what happens, what you should do, and do you know why I can't tell you?
Because I'm not looking.
You don't look. You know, I can't tell you. I can see Olaf's full health. Is Gwen full health? Is Wukong full health? We saw Wukong is here. We saw him pop on this ward a few seconds ago, right? Let's see. We see that Wukong's top. He's going to look for a play on top. Are you able to counter this? Is Taliyah there? You don't know. Right?
Yeah.
I can't tell you what the right play is. I know the right play is to ping Olaf off. You didn't do. You just reset. You do neither. You didn't go for top. You didn't go for bot. You went for base for item.
Damn.
So
Damn bad.
I think it's good to go for item when you have that power spike. But if you were top, that's completely different.
Yeah, it would be. I think it would be. I could easy double kill probably.
Potentially. And then you didn't go bot, so your bot might lose this 3v3, but this would be 4v3. You get lucky, I think.
It would be guaranteed.
I think you get lucky here that your bot ends up winning this without you, right?
Definitely. If my jungler was not there to counter gank and my bot is, yeah, we lose that even harder.
Yeah, and again, now it's a 2 for 2. If you were there, you didn't have your item.
It was a stomp.
So what you want to do is you want to go for your item because you know that's a big power spike for you. But based on the map state, you can't because there's stuff going on bot and top. Both plays could have been good, and you can make an argument that you should go for either. But you need to make a decision to do one. And then say, if you choose to go bot, just say, watch out, Olaf, you're getting ganked. Play safe. He ends up taking a bad trade and loses plates because he went... I'm not sure if you notice or remember. Olaf walked up to go for a trade. And that's why. Like, no, look, he's way up here. Right?
He's fighting Gwen.
He's fighting Gwen, but he didn't notice that Wukong's there. You could have just said, I'm going bot, play safe top, Wukong is there. And he would have said, oh, okay, I'm just going to farm under tower. He misses a little bit of farm, but they don't get the plates, right?
Better than dying.
But it's better than this. He got a little lucky to not die to that gank. If you go top, you say, hey, be careful, Taliyah's missing. Right? Taliyah has push and couldn't go bot. You just want to basically say, tell your team what you think is going to happen. You don't have to type it. You can just ping it. But one thing you can do is just danger ping on Olaf and then ping Wukong twice, right? And then he'll be like, oh shit, Wukong's probably here, right?
Well, never mind. My macro is dog shit. Like, here's the thing. Like, I could probably, like, know this my mistake, but it's hard to think in game. Like, it's very hard to know the right decision in game, man. It's so intense. Yeah.
And now they ended up losing bot because 3 of them died, or 3 of your team died and 2 of their team died. Yep, you get a plate at least, but you could have been there. You wouldn't have had Mythic yet, but...
This is just damage control that I'm doing.
Yeah. You're making the best of what you could do based off your earlier mistake. Yeah, and you might end up even dying here. You might get lucky.
Yeah, that's very lucky. Look, that lucky Everfrost.
Also, I would probably walk this way and around just because Wukong could technically E you through this wall. He doesn't have his W up right now, but I'd walk a little bit safer. It ends up being okay. So you're going to push. You're hovering towards your Amumu, clearing vision. One thing I would be thinking is, could you be diving top right now? You can't right this second because you're too late for it, but you notice Olaf's going to stack a huge wave into a crash here. Could you ping Amumu and potentially dive? I don't know.
I could think about that stuff if I'm more...
Yeah, and now Taliyah's moving, and you're not there. You can EQ W and push this wave and immediately go. I think that's a decent option, so that way you get pushed before roaming, but you want to look to not let her. Yeah, I think you did well there. You pushed, she ended up not getting anything, your team respected it. Yeah, you know that's going to happen there, right?
Yeah.
You know you should be playing a little safer, playing smarter.
So, like, I shouldn't clear this war?
Your Mumu should be hovering up better. What I would also do is you need to expect that she's going to W at some point, right?
Yes.
And you're kind of walking around doing it, but you see the W. If you're expecting it, it's easy for you to just click down and dodge it, right?
Yeah.
But you weren't...
Because to be honest, I did not expect that.
You were probably thinking... I could tell you were thinking there might be an enemy there, which is why you auto, then you move a little bit, then you auto, then you move a little bit, right? But you're not thinking in depth. Like, well, what are they going to do? You're like, oh, well, Taliyah's going to be here. She's going to E. She's going to W me into her E, stun me, and then she's going to Q. So if I can just dodge her W, I'm fine. But you don't think about that. You just think, oh, I'm going to stay at the max range so I don't get hit. But if you think about what ability they're going to use, then you can figure out how you're going to dodge it.
Yeah.
Right? But you didn't. I don't like this fight too much. So these are the 4 things I would say that you probably want to focus on the most. So during laning, you probably want to focus on your trades and your positioning. Right? We kind of talked about that at the first bit of the video, or the first bit of the coaching. You also want to farm better. You know, the first 2 waves, you got half of the minions, right? When you had Prio, you should be getting at least 10 to 11 of them, if not all of them. And on top of that, you went for trades when you should be farming, so you missed minions to go for a trade, right? You should also focus a little bit more on jungle tracking, because it seems like you don't really think about the enemy jungler much.
Like I try to make an effort to improve it, but like I just have little to no experience with jungling. Like I just
Yeah.
assume where they start red, they immediately go top, and yeah, that's the only thing I know about
Honestly,
this.
the thing I would suggest to you is just look up jungle tracking videos. I think Coach Curtis has a pretty good one if you know him, and just maybe watch some jungling, because if you're playing bot lane, you need to know what the support's gonna do, right? And you need to know what the ADC is gonna do. Mid lane
Yep.
is very much so the same, but with junglers. Mid lane is a 2v2 with your jungler.
Yeah, the
It
mid jungle synergy.
Yeah, it's more so than any other lane. Top lane, you also need to think about the jungler. Bot lane, you still need to think about the jungler. But mid lane, because you're open on both sides of the map, right? Mid lane, you can get ganked from bot side, you can get ganked from top side, you can get ganked from above or below. You can get ganked by supports. But
Yep.
just I'd suggest just try to figure out a little bit more. Think about what the enemy jungler is going to do. Maybe watch some VODs of junglers and see what different jungle champions do in terms of clear what they do and why. Just get some basic, because I can tell you for a fact you're not going to get challenger if you don't get good at jungle tracking, because
Yeah,
you're just
definitely.
going to die to ganks all the time. You know?
Yep. I'll definitely research on it more.
I'm sorry, what?
I'll definitely work on it
Oh
more.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's definitely one of those things that you have to focus on a lot if you're not experienced at jungling. But just try to watch some streamers and see what they do. And honestly, you can go to a smaller streamer and say, "Well, how do you know where the enemy jungler is?" And they'll probably respond. If you go to like a big streamer, they might not. But
Yeah.
just try to figure it out. And if you're focusing on jungle tracking, your laning is going to be worse because you're not going to be as good at trading rather, because you're focused on tracking the enemy jungler,
Yeah,
right?
that's basically like I try to think too many things at once and my
Yeah.
brain just go boom.
Focus on
Yeah.
one thing at a time, right? Focus on one of these
Okay.
things at a time. And then what do you do with tempo? That was the last thing we kind of talked about, right?
Yep.
Because you went for a reset when you could have made a play on the map, but you didn't even think about it because you were like, "Ooh, I got my item." In a vacuum,
Yep.
yes, if you get your mythic, that's a big power spike, but you could have delayed it, and it would have been better for you to be at that fight than to go for your mythic. I'm
Definitely.
sure there is a world where in this game your Mumu didn't go for that play and your bot lane played safe and your top lane was going to reset, and then it's fine to go for your mythic. But because something was going on the map, you had the opportunity to roam, but you didn't, right?